So here we are, we've spent the week, and when you think of Manchester, you think, of course, of United, you think of City, you think of Coronation Street. And Coronation Street and I are the same age. Yeah.
They must be very young.
No, it's 60 years of age, right? And this has been the home to that much loved soap. And joining us in the studio, former Corrie actor Charlie Lawson. And he made his name as...
well, the notorious Jim McDonald, who could always be relied upon to wind up his ex-wife Liz. So who could forget this famous moment when they were reunited in prison?
In prison? Mm.
Do you want to find a better man than me? Well, granted, you'll not be struggling there. You want to find someone better looking than me, but cast your eye round here, you'll find one in here. Someone who loves you like I did, Elizabeth.
This is none of your business.
Someone that, despite all his faults, never, ever let you feel that you weren't loved.
Well, you know, the thing I notice, the thing I take away about that, Charles, is that Liz is very Manc, and you're unapologetically very Northern Irish in this for a Northwestern soap.
Yeah, I mean, bless the writers. They came for me, Eamonn, in about 1987, and I was actually with the English Shakespeare Company in Canada, I think it was. And also in those days, people were very po-faced about soaps. And I was too. I just said, no, I'm not interested. Why would I go to Manchester and do a thing that I know nothing about? So, and then they came again in 1989, just as I'd got a major role in the bill. So it was one of those things that happens very seldom in your career. So I had a choice between coming up here and doing Corrie or going down to London and doing the bill. Mm. And I'd been in Manchester doing Crown Court. You might remember that. You won't. Yeah, but in 1982, and I rather liked it, and I liked the wages, and I liked everything that was going on at Granada. It was stuffed full of actors. Yeah. The city was stuffed full of sport and all the rest of the stuff. And so I came to Manchester and been here since, although I live about 20 miles that way now.
Yeah, but it's all Greater Manchester.
Yeah.
And the other analogy I wanted to make was between Jim McDonald and yourself is that Manchester traditionally, and I think of, you know, somebody like George Best who led the way from Northern Ireland to here, there's been a mass exodus. It always has been a home for Northern Irish people.
Norman, Sammy McElroy, you know, quite a few Reds over the years. But I think you remember, Eamonn, in the bad old days when we had nothing but grey news and desperate news and all this. The ferries and the planes were stuffed at the weekends coming over here to watch football.
The first time I came to Manchester, I was arrested and detained under the Prevention of Terrorism Act.
I can understand why.
That's my boy.
Yeah, it's because when we arrived at Liverpool in the ferry, my father hadn't got any identification. He hadn't got a driving licence or a passport. We didn't realise why you would have needed one, and we were detained by the special branch for that. So it was welcome to England.
Welcome to
really.
Whiteside and I got detained at the airport one day, but that was for a totally different reason. But sorry, carry on.
Well, I was going to say, there's this big Northern Irish community then here, but are you still doing that to and fro quite a lot, back to and doing lots of work in Northern Ireland as well?
I do. I've just finished filming a new series over there. Unfortunately, Mr. Burnham having to travel through Manchester Airport, which was a nightmare.
Was it? Could you explain to us why?
Well, there weren't enough staff.
Right.
Clearly, you go through security, and you know, I'm very lucky. I get priority pass like yourself or whatever. But the queues next to us were huge, and there simply weren't enough people to go through. So you can look all the way down, and the first 4 lanes going through the X-ray machines are there, and the rest are empty.
Right. Right.
So, but yeah, the answer is I go back a lot, but Manchester has a way of welcoming you, and when you're lucky enough to do Corrie, the thing about this city is you might be a red or a blue or whatever, but they love you. And it wasn't uncommon for us to be out downstairs or somewhere around the town with maybe Brian Robson, Paul Ince, Man United players, City players, Take That or whatever. And there was no kind of, oh my God, that's so-and-so, because we were all in this city together, and it's very tight. And so people people would fall over. They'd go into somewhere and there'd be someone from Take That. There'd be me. There'd be Phil Middlemas. There'd be Sarah Lancashire. Whatever, all having a beer. And in the next corner there'd be the City players or whatever. But Manchester always embraces all that. There's no one side. There's no one thing that is more special. They're very keen on their own, which I've always, like Belfast. It's always drawn me back here. And of course, in those days, Granada was rammed full of actors. We had a building down there, not far from here. It's been knocked down now, but it had a club bar in it, the Stables Bar, you remember, and the Film Exchange and all this. And it was Granada were making huge amount of dramas.
Yeah.
So there were actors everywhere. Slowly over the years, that kind of changed, as all our industry has changed, and eventually there was only us left there, and then we moved over there to Salford.
I can't begin to tell you, when I came here in 1986 to live, it was everything as Charlie describes there. There were stars because there were dramas being made all the time. There were football players
just
everywhere.
falling over each other.
The BBC on Oxford Road existed there, and they made all the sports programmes, all the entertainment programmes. It was amazing, not even counting Granada. It just felt it was happening. It was happening, and it continues to happen.
And does that pull you back then? Do you think that Corrie's cobbled streets could see you back in there?
Well, look, Ian's one of the few producers in our industry who actually bothers, as you know, what to talk to actors that aren't in the show, and I speak to Ian once a year. We had a chat about a month ago, and before a long-term story conference. He understands, and I understand, that the character I have, specifically nowadays, what's happened in the last 3 years with wokery and all the rest of the stuff. Well, whether
Jim wasn't the most politically correct.
He wouldn't have been the most PC man in the world. So I get that. So where are you going to put him? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
But he still has Steve there. So that's an obvious in. So we shall see.
Open.
I'm the most returned character.
Are you?
Played by the same actor in the history of British soaps.
How many times?
9.
Wow, 9 comebacks.
I left permanently in 2001, and the last time I was there was 2018. So who knows?
But tell me this. Also, I know you're more in a rural area now, and this is the lovely thing about Manchester, and when we take in Cheshire and Greater Manchester, there's a lot of greenery as well. So just, 25 minutes or so away from here?
25 minutes through the rain over that way. There's
different world.
Prestbury and where I live and
Alderley Edge.
Alderley Edge, yes, Alderley Edge. We all know. I love people from Alderley Edge. There are a few orange people in Alderley Edge, but they're very beautiful.
They're very beautiful,
and they're great fun too. All the girls.
Well, lovely seeing you, Charlie. Thanks for giving us a flavour and a taste of Manchester. Thank you very much indeed. The actor Charles Lawson.